Hello, I'm Christina Stewart with Praxis Recruitment. Today, I want to talk to employers. I want to build off something I talked about last month, actually. I did a little video about please make sure that you are turning your candidates off. It's something that doesn't happen very often, but it's really just a basic piece of respect in terms of branding as an employer, and it's just the right way to treat people, is to pick up the phone and let them know that they didn't get the job. But I had a couple people ask me, well, how do I do that? And I'm so happy because that means that maybe they're thinking of changing their ways and actually giving people that piece of news. And so today I thought I would film a little video on how I tell people that they didn't get the job. And so these are my words. This is what works for me. You'll certainly need to find your own vocabulary that works. But for me, what I usually do is, first of all, when I get them on the phone, I make sure, is this a good time? Are you driving? Make sure that they're in a space where they can hear the news, because even if it's just a little blip in their lives, it's still bad news, and we don't want to disappoint them in the wrong setting. So I always make sure, is this an okay time to follow up on our conversation, with regard to this particular role? Once they say yes, then I usually say, well, unfortunately, I don't have great news for you. You are not moving forward in the process for this role. Or I say, unfortunately, I don't have great news for you. The client has chosen a different candidate. And then I pause for a moment and let that sink in. And then I usually start building off and giving just a slice of feedback. I don't come in with the whole, well, they said this or that about you, until or if the person actually asks for that feedback, right? So what I'll do is I'll say, unfortunately, I don't have great news for you. You're not going to be moving along in the process. Take a pause. And then I'll say something like, it wasn't actually anything to do with you specifically. It's simply that you were edged out by the competition because they had more experience in this particular area, or something like that. So I try to then, at that moment, after I've said just a quick kind of sentence about why, I wait and I see what their reaction is. Some people at that moment, they just want to get off the phone. They're done. Thank you for calling, and they're out. And that's fine. That's great. Off they go. And I wish them well, of course. But for other people, they want to know why. And so, of course, as delicately but honestly as possible, I will tell them why they didn't get the role. Well, your experience is fantastic in this particular silo, but unfortunately you didn't have experience in this particular area. Or, I say something like the selection committee felt that your, answers with regard to this particular area weren't quite as robust as they needed to be. They were looking for someone who has this. And I try to make sure that whatever it is that I'm telling them is something that they can actually do something about. So it's education or getting experience in a certain way or learning a skill or something like that. If the selection committee simply just didn't like the candidate, I'm not going to say that. I'm absolutely not going to say that. I'm not ever going to talk in terms of personality or anything along those lines. That's not constructive feedback, and that's not something that someone can use to be a better person, right? So I stick to the facts, stick to the skills, education, experience realm, and try to give them some juicy feedback. But just remember, there is no wrong way to give this news. The only wrong way, actually, to give the news is to not give the news at all. So, try it out and see what works for you, but be gentle, don't say too much, and then, of course, stick to the truth and stick to the facts, and you can't go wrong. Good stuff. Thanks so much for listening. I will see you next time. Bye now.